This is Lagoon Radio.
Yes, this is Lagoon Radio. Good morning and welcome to today's edition of the Legal Show. Know Your Rights on our radio, the number one online gospel radio in Nigeria and the official radio of the Anglican Diocese of Lagos, transmitting live from the Diocesan Media Center, 29 Marina, Lagos. It's a beautiful Friday morning, the 16th day of December 2022. I am Anosike Jimezie, welcoming you to today's edition of the program. Remember, this program is designed to educate you as a citizen of Nigeria on your fundamental rights. And this morning, we'll be looking at essential intellectual property rights for startups. And we have the privilege of Barrister Sandra Eke. Barrister, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Chimeze. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yes, when we talk about intellectual property, a lot of us don't know what it means. So what is the intellectual property?
As the name implies, intellectual, it has to do with creations of the mind. So these are intellectual property rights, the rights that are attributable to creatives for all the creations they produce from their mind. And there are different kinds of intellectual property rights, which we'll discuss in the course of this program. Like we have copyrights, we have trademarks, trade secrets, we have patent rights as well. And we also have rights to designs, and the likes of it. So there are various kinds of intellectual property rights, which are, all the creations of the mind produced by creatives.
Before we look at the various types of this intellectual property, are these rights absolute?
Well, most of these rights are exclusive to the authors or the owners of those rights.
Okay.
For example, a copyright gives you exclusive ownership to whatever work of authorship that you have. Say for example, you have a literary work. Let's say you have a book. You wrote a book or you published a book, for example. You have exclusive rights to reproduce that work, to distribute it to the public, to make translations of that work, and also to commercially produce and reproduce it in as many copies as you want to do. So this right is yours. They can be assignable. You can assign your rights. You can license your rights as well, based on whatever intentions you have to use such rights.
Okay. Now, what are these types of the intellectual property?
Okay, coincidentally, I already mentioned a couple of them already,
Okay.
but I will take them one after the other.
Yeah.
And I will start with patent rights this time around. A patent, is an exclusive protection that is granted to a creator, of an invention. For example, let's say you produce or you create something like, let's give an example, like a phone, for example. But the unique thing about, before you can obtain or you can enjoy a patent protection on your invention, that invention must satisfy some basic requirements. One, the invention has to be new. It has to be new or a modification of an existing invention. So there has to be some kind of newness to it. And it's that newness that gives you that you can protect, and such protection is given for a determined period of time. In Nigeria, that duration is 20 years. So you have 20 years to utilize that invention solely to be able to reproduce it as you like to do, to be able to assign it, to license it, just to distribute it industrially for replicate it in an industrial process or commercially for that short period of time before it now falls back into the public domain. So that's an exclusive protection given to you for your invention. So if you're a creative listening to the show and you have something you've produced which you think is new, and you think no one has done this before, or no one has come up with this kind of invention before you put it out in the market, it's been nice for you to obtain a patent protection for your invention. This will really help you, to be able to maximize commercially all the benefits ascribed to that invention in such a way that it won't be exploited. So aside from your patent rights, we also have, copyrights. I mentioned this earlier already. Your copyrights are rights are attributable to, an author or a creative of either a literary work, a sound recording, a musical work or an artistic work or the likes. So if you fall into any of these categories, if you've produced anything, if you produce a musical work, for example, or you made a broadcast, or you produce a sound recording, or you fall under the category of literary works, maybe you have a book or a magazine or something new that you've published, and that has some kind of creativity attached to it, that can, can give you copyright protection. And the good thing about copyright protection is this: it doesn't really require any registration. But one thing you must do is that, one, you must replicate whatever, material or copyrighted, idea you have. You must put it down into a definite medium of expression. For example, it must be put on maybe in a book, or written somewhere on a laptop, shall reproduce from your head. So, some people have this idea that, I thought about this idea first. I came up with this thing first. But there's no way to prove it. So for you to enjoy copyright protection, you must have put it down somewhere. You must put it in a definite minimum of expression. It may even be on a tape or a CD or something. You must bring it out from your head and pen it down somewhere. So that's for copyright protection. We also have industrial designs as well. This protects the aesthetics, the beauty of the product, how it looks like, the look and feel of a product. You can protect that as well. The three-dimensional features or designs can be protected as well, and you can obtain protection for it. So it's an all-round ball game for a creative or a startup. And also, least I forget, the trademark protection, very important. Like almost every business venture has a trademark. As long as you have a name, you have a trademark. Your trademark is your brand name. It can be in form of your logo. It can be in form of, some lines. It can be in form of a catchphrase. It can be in form of, something that's a unique identifier to your business. This trademark is what distinguishes you from, your other competitors in the market. So the idea for a trademark protection is to avoid consumer confusion, and also to give your brand, the kind of distinction that it needs. So once, assuming you're a startup, for example, listening to this show, one thing you should know is this: it's not enough to just do your business name or limited liability company registration with CAC. It also is also very important to take an additional step to obtain a trademark protection with the Nigerian Trademarks and Patent Design Registry. Once you do that, you obtain rights, stronger rights to your name or to your brand name. This helps you, in so many ways. A trademark protection would help you, fight against infringers of your trademark, and it gives your brand a stronger, market value in the market, because yes, everybody knows this brand is protected. And you can also, exploit your rights commercially by licensing your trademark, to other people or other businesses that want to use your name for whatever thing or venture they want to do, and you can derive profits from this as well. So aside from this also, we also have something called trade secrets.
Okay.
Trade secrets, I'm sure many of us have heard about the Coca-Cola trade secret before. Nobody knows about this. Nobody knows what the formula is in making Coca-Cola. The thing about trade secrets is that you have to take, conscious effort to protect them, because that the whole idea of them being a secret is that they have to be well protected, and they have to be of commercial value as well. So let's say, for example, you have a formula to produce a particular type of drink. I'm using Coca-Cola as an example, and you feel like this is what distinguishes you from the rest of your competitors in the market. So you can take steps to protect that, secret by making sure that you keep in a very secret place, or in a place where it won't get out to the public, or it won't get out to the wrong hands or third parties that are not authorized to use those trade secret formulas that you have. Once you do this, it helps your business. And the good thing about trade secrets is that there's no duration of time. As long as it's kept secret, you enjoy the protection. But once it gets out to the public, you lose the protection over them. I think, basically we can just start with this.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, looking at all this, you mentioned the patent rights, copyright, industrial design, trademark. How can all these rights be protected?
Okay. I already mentioned some of these while I was talking.
Okay.
For a copyright, I'll start with copyright. For a copyright, you are a creative listening to this show, and you have a copyright that you would like to protect, or let me say you have a literary work or a musical work or a sound recording or the likes of, or any about these kind of works that fall under copyright protection. How you can protect it is, like I said already, by making sure that you put them down, you pen them down on a definite medium of expression. Don't keep them in your mind alone, don't keep them in your head alone. Make sure that you write them down, you put them inside somewhere tangible, that you can, of course, replicate in future, or you can show to someone that this is the proof that, this is the work I created on so and so time. And in addition to doing this is lodging your work with the Nigerian Copyright Commission. The good thing about copyrights is this: no registration is required. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't need to go through any registration process to obtain the protection. But the Nigerian Copyright Commission has a kind of notification system, although they use the word registration, but it doesn't mean that if you do not register with the Nigerian Copyright Commission, you would not have the protection. What they just did is to create a robust database, where creatives can lodge their copyrighted materials with them. And, once a government agency is the one holding your work, it gives you many benefits. One is that anyone that wants to license your work can easily go to the database of the NCC and search for it, and seek permission to use it or to license. So it gives you some kind of visibility, for business if you want to maybe commercially exploit it. Also, it also helps you, prove first ownership of the work. You have to do more if you're trying to prove that you created the work first on your own. If you didn't lodge the work with the NCC, for example, you have to show proof that, this is the thing I did it first, this is the date I did it, these are the evidences I have, and all. So it's just be more or less like you having to produce more proof to show that you were the first person to come up with that copyrighted work. But once you lodge it to the NCC, for example, the certificate they will give you, it serves as a kind of evidence of ownership of that work that you can use. That's for copyright. Then for trademark, to obtain a trademark protection, you have to go through registration process with the Nigerian Trademarks, Patent and Designs Registry. You have to go through that process by registering, paying to register your work there, and their fees are quite, low or cheap, so they're quite affordable, really. So any creative that really wants to lodge their work with the trademark registry can easily do that, and gain their protection. For patent as well, the same thing goes. You have to register your invention to obtain the patent protection. You have to be registered, and you submit all the necessary documentation that you need to obtain the patent protection, and then get registered. Once you're registered, your patent rights subsist in that work or invention. But trade secrets, in Nigeria, we don't really have any regulation or law on trade secret protection in Nigeria. There's no registration process or anything. All you have to do is to ensure that it's kept secret and it's protected. Even if you have to disclose it to some people, because there are sometimes you have to tell maybe your business partners or some of your employees working with you that this is the formula, this is what we have to do to make so and so drink. You can't be the only one producing all the drinks. if you probably have a secret formula, you can't be the only one doing everything. At some point, you have to disclose it to your employees or some people you work with to ensure that formula doesn't go out. You make sure that you sign a very strong confidential agreements with your employees or your business partners to ensure that they don't disclose your trade secret out to the public. what else? I think we mentioned industrial design.
Yes.
So it also goes through the same registration process, just like a patent, with the patent and designs registry as well. So I think that answers the question.
Okay, before we go on this break, someone asked, let me get, okay, Spencer, he said, good morning, Lagoon Radio. Please, does plagiarism fall into intellectual property?
Yes, it does. That's most likely going to fall under copyright infringement. Usually, when your work is plagiarized or pirated in any way, it's more or less like an infringement on your rights. Somebody's trying to utilize your work or copy your work without giving you any recognition to it. Definitely falls under intellectual property law and under the copyright law, and you can bring an action against that person that you find, guilty of such acts.
Okay, we'll go on this short break. When we come back, we'll look at how someone can approach, maybe register, because some of our listeners who are listening that doesn't know how to approach the Copyright Commission and the rest of them. We'll go on this short break. When we come back, we'll look at that and more. Keep listening to us.
This is Lagoon Radio. This is Lagoon Radio. This is Lagoon Radio.
Yes, you're welcome back, and you're still listening to Lagoon Radio, and it's Know Your Right, our legal program on Lagoon Radio. And today we are talking about, essential intellectual property rights for startups. And you've been listening to Barrister Sandra Eke. She's an associate of SPA Ajibade and Co. In the Department of Intellectual Property and Technology. Yes, she has been educating us on this. Now, Barrister, having laid this foundation and said all this, for someone who wants to, for the startups, how do I approach the Copyright Commission or even the trademark? And for someone who is eager to register, how do I approach them, or how do the process?
Okay, that's pretty easy. For the Nigerian Copyright Commission, if you want to lodge your work with the Nigerian Copyright Commission, it's simple. What you need to do, you can even do it online now. Do the thing now. They've digitalized most of their systems, so you can do that online. Fulfill all the requirements they have. Submit all the necessary documentation that they need or require from you, and then you can, get your work, registered or lodged with them. So that's pretty easy. You can just Google their website and do that online.
Okay.
Then for trademarks, if you want to obtain a trademark protection, then you have to, you can approach an agent. For example, my firm, SPA Ajibade and Co. We have a very good intellectual property department practice. You can approach my firm, or you can reach out to me personally. You can Google my firm or Google my name. You see our contact emails there. I can give it out on the show as well. You can reach out to us if you want to obtain a trademark protection will assist you as agents, to handle the whole process. You don't have to do anything. All you need to do just to work with us. We'll make it seamless for you. We'll take out all the stress from having to go to the registry's office in Abuja yourself, doing all the running around, ensuring that your trademark is registered in the appropriate class, because in Nigeria, trademarks are registered in different classes. So to obtain a broader protection based on the kind of services that your business performs or does, you have to register it in the appropriate classes that cover them, so that you enjoy protection in those classes. And so many other benefits that you get to know more about when you reach out to me personally, show you my contact information or anything like that. So that's pretty easy. For patents, so the Nigerian Trademarks, Patents and Designs Registry are, they work together. So you have the patent office as well there in Abuja as well. We can also help you handle that. We'll take out all the stress from you by helping you review your invention, doing a thorough review of your invention or whatever material that you have come up with that you think is spanking new or an improvement on an existing work. We take out all the hassle. You have to deal with dealing directly with the regulatory body. We can also help you in preparing your claims and specifications, because these are the kinds of some documentations that are needed to be submitted when you want to obtain a patent protection or you do a patent registration. Sometimes some creatives, they don't even know where to start from. They don't know anything. That's why you have firms like ours. And that's why you have, industry experts like me as well to guide you through this process and make it very easy, seamless, and simple for you.
Okay. Someone is asking, he said, when we talk about intellectual property rights, I want to understand the principle of where one's right ends and is where another begins. Is there anything like that in intellectual property? The principle of where one's right ends is where another one's begin.
Okay, if I'm to answer that question in the way I think I understand it, I'm not very sure where that person's perspective is coming from. But like I said before, most of these IP rights, IP is a short form for intellectual property. If you're just joining in, most of these rights are they are exclusive in nature. They give you sole ownership of that right to use it. But then again, it's not like you are going to use the right in such a way that it will infringe on another person's own work. So let's say I have my right, you have yours as well. So the same way I have my right to my work is the same way you have your right to your work. So in the course of enjoying my right, I would not want to infringe on another person's work, because that person also has their own right as well. So it's more or less like, a mutual respect thing. If not, I'm infringing on somebody else's rights. I won't say in the course of promoting my trademark or promoting my brand name, I infringe on somebody else's own. That way I'll be exceeding the boundaries of my rights, if I am to answer the question. Yeah.
Okay. Kelvin is asking, he asked before, he said, since plagiarism is an intellectual theft, what does the law say on intellectual theft?
Intellectual theft is is a big word, because it can occur in many areas or many aspects. There can be intellectual theft in patents, in copyright, in trade secrets, industrial design, and every area of copyright law, every area of IP rights generally. Well, each of the regulations, each of the laws that we have, they have penalties or punishments for anyone that is in breach of these laws, and some of them have criminal sanctions as well. So a person can be imprisoned for breaching on somebody else's right in a certain way. A person can be fined, they can be sanctioned. Their businesses or their businesses can be put to a stop. An Anton Pillar injunction can be granted against another business to stop the further reproduction of your work, or to seize you can obtain a seize like a cease and desist kind of injunction against someone infringing on your work as well. There's just so much you can do to stop anyone from infringing on your rights, and all the laws that we have contain, of course, penalties or punishments for anyone that is in breach of that law. So that way, but if you want more knowledge of that, or or maybe you feel like someone plagiarized your work and you need more information, I'll just advise you to just reach out to me, and then I would give you a properly good opinion on what you are talking about, because I'm just giving a broad information to everyone, not knowing your particular situation or particular question.
Okay. Yes, Sheung is asking. He said, "Good morning, Lagoon Radio. Thank you for this. I'm really enjoying this topic. Please, ask a barrister, how long does it take to register with the Copyright Commission? How long?"
Okay. Like I said, please make sure you understand this very well. Registration is not a determinant factor to obtain a copyright protection. Immediately you pen down your idea in a definite medium of expression, let's say a book, for example, you write down your idea in a book or on your laptop, your computer, or somewhere, immediately that right exists, or that right is created. The necessity of lodging your work with the NCC, which is a short form for the Nigerian Copyright Commission, is just an additional benefit given to you as a creative if you want to enjoy the additional benefits associated with lodging your work with the NCC. And for the duration of time it takes of the whole process with the NCC, I think these days you could do it under 2 weeks, thereabouts. You could do it under sometimes a month. If there are some queries on your applications, it could take longer than that time. Let's say, for example, you didn't submit something you're supposed to submit, or somebody's name was not properly spelled properly, or just any queries whatsoever on your application could also delay or maybe elongate the length of time it would take to obtain their certificates or something. But I could assist you in doing that registration. My firm could also do that as well. So that's why we're IP experts.
Okay.
So take off the stress from you, basically.
Okay. Now let's come down to the judicial part of it very well. Since we talk about intellectual property, and as a lawyer, now looking at the law, the Nigerian system, for someone who believes, it's just like the question someone asked on the plagiarism and the rest of them. For someone who feels that his right has been infringed upon, what can the person do?
The first thing, the person is supposed to approach, a well-knowledgeable IP lawyer. Most people just think or assume that all lawyers know everything about every law. Just the way you have in medicine, where you have different, aspects of medicine. You have doctors for the ears, throat, mouth, legs, hands, neck, every part of your body. That's the same way you have laws in every sphere of life, really, every business venture, everything basically, everything that has to do with any business activity or venture has a law governing it. So for the IP space, you have intellectual property lawyers, and these are well-trained experts in that area. They have handled cases like that before. They have good knowledge about it. They are well knowledgeable to help you with handling that matter. You approach an IP firm like my firm, or an IP expert like me, and you, of course, narrate your issue to the person or to the expert or to the firm, and definitely they'll give you good sound advice and tell you what your chances are in court. These days, not everyone likes to go to court because of the length of time it might take to adjudicate the matter or come out with the final resolution of the matter in court. We'll also advise you on other alternative ways to explore if you want to probably seek legal remedy for your infringed work as well. This is where your lawyer comes in. Your lawyer comes and advises you on all the options you have, and even tell you if you actually don't have an option or have a right. Because sometimes we've met a lot of people come to us and they begin to narrate different kind of stories, and at the end of the day, we just find out that maybe they didn't do one or two things right from the beginning, and then it affects them going forward, and then they begin to allege all different kinds of things, and then we advise them appropriately. Or if we find that you have good legal grounds, or you have good actionable grounds, definitely we'll take it up for you and pursue it. So as long as you want, if you wanted to get as high as the Supreme Court, we are definitely going to represent you up to that, the highest level. Yes, but in Nigeria, the appropriate court handles intellectual property matters of that nature is a federal high court. So that's where most issues will start from.
Okay. And Samuel is asking, please, Barrister, what's the name of your firm? I've mentioned it here. He said, Barrister, please, what's the name of your firm? And if possible, your address so that we can come and have an interactive section.
Okay, that's pretty simple. The name of my firm is SPA Ajibade and Co. Law Firm. It's located in Lagos, Nigeria, even though it also has branches in Abuja and also in Ibadan as well. But we can provide legal help or legal support to anyone, anywhere in the world. We have clients internationally and also locally as well that we service. So no matter where you are in Nigeria, as long as you can reach us on any of our contact lines, we have a website. You can just Google SPA Ajibade and Co. Law Firm, and then our website should pop up. You can also Google my name, Sandra AK. My name should also pop up. I work with the firm, so it should pop up, and you see our contact emails as well. Tell them you're from the radio show. Just send an email to us, say, oh, I'm from this radio show that Sandra was on, and this is the help I need. I need this particular kind of help in the areas of IP, and then we'll be happy to help you or happy to support you.
Okay, somewhere you've heard. Okay, we'll go on this short break again. When we come back, it will be the concluding moments of the program. We'll look at the chances of the offended if he can get justice in Nigerian court of law. Keep listening to us. We'll be right back.
This is Lagoon Radio. This is Lagoon Radio.
Yes, this is Lagoon Radio, and you're still listening to Know Your Rights, our legal program. Remember, you can download the app on Google Play Store and Apple Store. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Lagoon Radio Nigeria, and on Twitter and Instagram, Lagoonradio.Ng. And today, we've been talking about essential intellectual property rights for startups. And our guest, Barrister Sandra Eke, yes, she's an associate, SPA Ajibade and Co.
Yes, I'll just complete the name for you, SPA Ajibade and Co.
Okay. Now, Barrister, looking at the Nigerian system, first, can someone get justice if his rights is infringed upon?
Definitely. We have a justice system in Nigeria. You can get justice, but it's just length of time it might take you to get the justice, and the appropriate channels. There are different channels, you can explore to get justice. We have the court system, which is known to you. We also have other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms that a person that is seeking, a remedy to their legal issue can also explore if they want a faster, adjudication for their legal issue. So these days, most people like to explore the ADR options. ADR is the alternative dispute resolution options, rather than going through the long or lengthy court system or court process. But even if you go through the court system or court process, you can definitely still get justice. If you're patient enough, you will get justice, and you can get remedy also. You can get damages as well if you qualify for them, or if the judge finds it, finds whatever action that you're bringing. If he finds it to fall under any grounds that those damages are available for, you can get them.
Okay, and now what's the best way? Since someone can get justice, what's the best way to approach the court or to approach a lawyer? Coming from a system where a lot of us are not too exposed, or a lot of us shy away from the system of the court. So how do someone who feel offended, how does he approach the court or even a lawyer?
Like I said before, it's as simple as just sending an email to me,
Okay.
or reaching me through my phone number, or the contact lines of my firm. It's basically as simple as that and straightforward. Just reach a lawyer close to you, explain your issues. Lawyers are trained for this kind of issues, just like a medical doctor is trained to handle whatever health issue you have in his field or in his area. He can give you advice on what drugs to take and what to stop taking and things like that. That's the same thing a lawyer can do for you. A lawyer that is well versed in that particular area or field can advise you on what steps to take, what steps not to take, and also can guide you on what options to make and the best option that you can make. But the choice will still be given to you to decide on what best you want. So someone can say, "Oh, I don't want to have to wait for so long. I want to explore a faster option. I want this. I want that." And the lawyer guides you on the options available for you. And someone says, I don't mind how long this matter will drag. I just want to ensure that my rights are not infringed upon." And then your lawyer will definitely guide you on what to do in that respect.
Okay. Samuel asked again. He said, "Thank you, Lagoon Radio. Please, barrister, how effective is this law in Nigeria? And can I get a lawyer on pro bono on this matter?"
Pro bono matters are based on the law firms or the lawyer's own discretion. Usually, depends on the nature of the matter. There are sometimes my firm has handled or taken up pro bono matters. Depends on the kind of matter and the nature of the matter involved. It's discretionary usually, and you know that sometimes going to court is not free really. You have to pay for filing processes. You have to pay the government certain fees for filing. You have to pay the litigation support staff to make sure that they get documents filed. Sometimes, if, for example, you want to compare your records, let's say your matter is presently at the Federal High Court, and then you've obtained judgment and you want to appeal that judgment to the Court of Appeal, you have to transmit your records to the Court of Appeal. And paying for the transmission of your records is not free. You have to pay a certain sum of money to do that. So this is the reason why lawyers charge certain fees. And if they want to take up matter pro bono, are you saying, okay, I'm going to take up the official fees, and I really don't have money to pay your professional fees? That would now be left to the firm you're talking to or the lawyer you're talking to make that call or make that choice. But usually on a discretionary basis, usually.
Okay. One more last question on this. Okay.
But sorry, let me just add something.
Okay.
What I know we can do, like for my firm, sometimes we give discounts for startups. So
Okay.
we don't charge you the same thing we charge, a well-established company already. So if you identify yourself to be a startup, and of course you give the reasons to show that you are a startup and you don't really have enough funding or things like that, those can be taken into consideration in giving you a discounted, fee to handle your matter, so that it help you get justice or help you seek remedies to your legal issues.
Okay, someone asked again. He said, "Please, I missed a part on how the rights can be protected. Can you please enlighten me more on that?"
Okay, so what rights now are you talking about? Are you talking about all the IP rights? Or
Yes,
are you
he's talking about all the IP,
just
intellectual property
one?
rights, how it can be protected.
Okay, so I'll go over this again, but now very briefly because I've gone over them over and over again during the course of this show. For your copyrights, like I already said, you do not need registration to obtain protection. All you need to do is to make sure that you reproduce that work from your mind to a definite medium of expression, which can be like a book. It can be in your computer, it can be in a CD, or just make sure that it's not in your head and it's penned down somewhere. As long as that is, and then again, you can also show that wherever you're penning it down, you can show proof that you first penned that thing down that time, that particular time. Maybe it could be the date that material was saved on your laptop or anything like that. Then for your trademarks, you obtain trademark registration by approaching the Nigerian Trademark and Designs Registry. The trademark registry is the government agency responsible for registration of trademarks in Nigeria. Then we also have the Patent and Designs Registry. That registry is responsible for registering your patented your inventions, really. So that's how to obtain them. Also, same thing for your industrial designs. You have unique designs you want to register. The Patent and Designs Registry handles that as well. But if you don't want to go through the rigors of dealing with the registry and not knowing how to comply with all their requirements, prepare the proper documentation and all that, that's why you have an IP lawyer to help you. So you can just reach out to me, or you can reach out to my firm. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn by my name, Sandra AK. You can send me a message and say, okay, I listen to your show and I have this right I would like to protect. How do I go about doing it? And of course, I'll be always available to assist you.
Okay, what would be your advice to startups? In fact, what would be your general advice to startups on intellectual property?
Okay, my advice to startups generally would be get a lawyer as soon as you can. Most people have this belief that they only get a lawyer when the situation has gone really, really bad. And most times, the lawyer can do, little to nothing, or his work or his or her work is limited at that period, because from the beginning you did not get the lawyer involved. To avoid all the issues or hurdles you would face in the course of your business, from the inception of your business, from the starting of your business, get a lawyer involved. You might say, oh, I don't have the funding to pay a lawyer. You can, approach a firm and request for a discounted, fee, saying that you're a startup, and then based on their discretion, they could offer you a reduced fee for doing that. But it's always best, because at the end of the day, you end up spending more money to solve whatever issue that was caused by you not taking proper legal steps from the beginning. So it's more or less like you not just acting smart from the beginning. So it's always best to get a lawyer involved from the beginning. They will advise you on how best to protect your business before you launch out into the market. Because these days, most people out there just want to just take from you, or exploit your rights, and you will help them by not protecting those rights. So to enjoy all the benefits of your rights, of your IP rights, to enjoy all the benefits of of your intellectual property rights, you need to get a lawyer involved. They will advise you on how to protect all these rights and help you, take all necessary steps required to ensure that you can protect them. So, like I said, make sure you involve a lawyer from the drafting of your agreements to the registering of your rights to your discussion with your business partners to basically everything you do. Just get a lawyer involved. Lawyer is there for you, standing by you and your business to support you through its growth process, and ensure that through its growth process you don't make mistakes that are damaging for you. So many creatives right now are in serious mess because they made this mistake of, oh, I don't really have money, let me just start first. Maybe when I generate funding, I can now get a lawyer later. And then in the course of doing their business, or in the course of, just launching out, they make ridiculously huge mistakes, that causes them a lot of loss that they would have avoided if they had just gotten a lawyer involved. If it would mean you obtaining a loan or getting funding somewhere to be able to pay your lawyer or to finance whatever thing you need to do from a certain phase, based on whatever advice your lawyer gives you, it's good for you to just get your lawyer involved. That would I would advise every startup or creative listening to the show. Don't be part of those people that say, let me just start first. Don't just start first. Make sure that you get your lawyer involved with you at the beginning, and you'd enjoy your business smooth. Later you come back and be like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. Yes.
Okay, you've heard it. Get a lawyer. At least Barrister Sandra is here. She's here to help you out. If you need her, contact her. Yeah, and she's an associate with SP Ajibade and Co. So, and that's where we'll leave it this morning on today's edition of Know Your Rights. Barrister, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you. I hope you learned one or two things by listening to the show.
And we hope to see you when next we call on you.
Most definitely.
Thank you out there for listening to us. The show returns again next Friday, 9:10 a.m. And thanks to our producer, Oluwaseyi Ajadi. And from me, Anosike Chimeze, is goodbye. And do have a lovely day.
This is Lagoon Radio.